Hello, I'm Chandu Gopalkrishnan, Senior Reporter at SC Media UK. Telecommunications major NTT Corporation has launched a mega merger of 28 of its group companies, including NTT Security. This $11 billion new entity would be based in London. NTT Security's CEO Matthew Jide joins us with more details about this mega merger. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Chandu. It's great to be here, and thank you for the invite. It's fantastic to start off with Hello, Matt. It's actually been one of the themes as we're working through bringing these 28 companies together. Hello, NTT. So, lots of, advertising and communication internally about saying hello to your new colleagues, because we're going from reasonably large companies to a mega-sized company. I mean, for over 40,000 employees in the new organisation. So, lots of new people to meet.
So Matt, please tell us about this new endeavor that the company is planning. How long have you progressed into it, and what does that mean to the company as well as the consumer?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I mean, this is a long-term plan from NTT Holdings or Corporation. They've been buying assets over the last decade. Dimension Data was one of those, with the idea that they wanted to form a global organisation of fully integrated companies. So I think they got to the position. Sawada-san, who's the CEO of Holdings, announced mid last year that he was forming this new company called NTT Limited, and it'd be made up of 28 companies coming together. The real work, I guess, and the grinding it out, how we were going to do this, really started in December of last year. Obviously, there'd been immense planning before that, but then doing lots of meetings and bringing it all together. Right? It's not, you can't just turn around one afternoon and decide tomorrow morning you're going to operate as this big company. So financial systems in the back end, your ERP, your CRMs, all of those sorts of tools have been worked on over the last, 12 months, to get us to the position where we are today. So it's been exciting. It's sometimes energy burning, but it's we're here, so it's fantastic.
I can imagine that, bringing together 28 different business verticals together. Speaking of that, it's a conglomeration of many different units like NTT Communications, Dimension Data, NTT Security, which is a different business model altogether. How does NTT Security fit into this grand scheme of things?
Yeah, well, I think it's this is a great opportunity for NTT Limited as an organisation, and I think a great opportunity for the security team within. So we changed the structure a little bit coming into this. So I report directly to the CEO of NTT Limited, which kind of gives us the exposure that we need within the organisation. So what it's allowed us to do is to bring 2,500 people together in a single company. So you saw that there was 28 companies. So it's NTT Security, Dimension Data, NTT Com primarily. But just July 2nd, we acquired a company called White Hat Security, which brought additional people to it. So White Hat are very much in that application security space. So really added to the strengths that we had as an organisation in the infrastructure piece. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity for us. Security is obviously much more relevant with our clients every day that we move forward. I think the threats that they face and all the fear, uncertainty and doubt, but ultimately we're here to address the client's outcome, and having 2,500 people together allows us to do that, I think, in a more collaborative way, more consistent way, that's done in a similar process across 57 countries that we operate in.
What steps did you take to adapt into this grand scheme of things? Like obviously NTT Security has to make some changes to get into this new corporation that you are envisioning and planning and bringing together.
Yeah, so as I said, there was a lot of work that got done on the back-end systems to make sure we're integrated. So I think that was done. I think the other big thing that we've sort of gone through is putting the right people in the right roles. So that was critical to the success of business. Obviously, we had leaderships from very different companies, all operating in the security space. In the past, sometimes we might have been competing against each other. Now we're all one team. So how do we bring that together? So there's been some leadership changes just to sort of ensure that we've got balance in the team. But I think it's something that we'll continue to work at. I mean, it's as we were talking before the interview, it's a pretty big security company now. It's 2,500 people globally. We're about a $1.6 billion annual revenue business. with ambitions to double, if not triple that, over the coming years. So, we're positioned fantastically in the market. The NTT brand is widely recognised for its quality, and that's what we're here to deliver on and the outcome for our clients.
You are a veteran in the security business with more than 2 decades of service across different companies.
Gosh, you make me sound old.
Based on your experience, what do you see as the most challenging thing that is happening in the security industry right now?
Yeah, so that's it's very interesting. We've just probably to block and bridge your question there a little bit, but it's we've gone to market as this new company, NTT Limited's security business, with a concept of secure by design. What we've seen historically is a lot of bolt-on security to whatever the client's trying to achieve, whether it's a new data center, whether they're building out new infrastructure, new mobile policy. So we've often thought of security as the poor stepchild. What we're thinking of when it comes to security is ensuring that security is blended into everything that we do, hence the tagline, secure by design. Everybody talks about digitization and how everyone's going there. I totally agree with that, but I think many of the companies haven't even got to the stage where they're digitizing yet. They're still operationalizing their organization. I don't even know if that's a word, but we'll use it. It's, so they're still getting the process right in terms of how they're going to run their business. At the same time, they've got people within the business that are looking for cost cutting, are looking for more efficient, more productive ways to do business. So we're seeing the hyperscalers starting to play a big role in this. So you've got two pressures within the organization. On top of that, you've got a much more sophisticated bad community, people that want to get data, want to get access to things within your organization. So we're kind of at this, I guess, epic storm of events right now. And I think, there is rays of sunlight that are coming through that. I think we have to rethink what we're doing with security. So security now needs to step up. It's no longer about protecting your infrastructure. It's about protecting your application assets that sit out on a cloud. It's about protecting your data and then really getting the data fine-grained so you understand what that data is. And we like to think we operate in the intelligence world. We have amazing access to data. And I say that because NTT as an organisation, roughly 40% of the internet is touching their fibre at any one time. Of all of that traffic that's touching us, we're taking every 10,000th packet that touches us, we take a sample of that packet. So we have the ability to see botnets being formed. And then when you correlate that back with the dark web and the dark markets, we're able to see that botnet being sold. We know who's buying it, and we can make decisions around whether we allow that botnet to continue to create, report it to the authorities, whatever it may be. So it's an amazing opportunity that we've got here that if we were just a standalone company, we wouldn't have access to that intelligence, which we then can apply to our clients' infrastructure for their applications, etc.
Speaking of applications, it has become mandatory for every organization to have an application, a business-facing application, because of digital transformation. And when we say digital transformation, we hint at some sort of an automation. How does that affect the security of a company?
Yeah, so a lot of automation is about getting the machine to make a decision for you. So what that comes down to is writing smart algorithms. But one of the things about writing those algorithms, you have to constantly write them. The systems need to keep learning. So we actually see ourselves as at the forefront of that market. A lot of the operations that we run in our managed security platform are already automated. Machines are making decisions. However, we still have a human touch on it. So roughly 76% of the data that we see is processed by a machine. The other 24% requires human eyeballs because you have to put it into context, and often a machine can't do that. But we're constantly inputting our findings in terms of algorithms back into our machine so it can get smarter and smarter and smarter. So for many organizations, they're writing codes. Hopefully they're getting that security checked on that code, that application before they launch it. But they want to launch it immediately, and it can be the difference sometimes between $1 billion in revenue and just another run company, right? So it's very competitive in their own verticals. So security has to be considered at the inception of an idea, and that for it makes it flow through much quicker. Once again, I think that sort of automation application is absolutely critical to all organizations. But if they're not thinking about security as one of their first thoughts, they're going to run into problems.
What can organizations expect from NTT in the coming few years?
Yeah, I think so. One of the major things is our scale. So for any organisation that crosses a border, for instance, we're more than likely in the country that they locate themselves in. So we're physically present in 57 countries. Yeah, and I think that consistency of service across the board. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, the NTT brand is known for quality, and that's what we strive to achieve every day. I think there'll be a lot of work that we're doing right now and into the future around intelligence. I really do think intelligence is the future of security. So having access to that and making sure you're fast on your decision making. Internally, at the moment, we talk about negative day findings of malware, botnets, that sort of stuff. So a lot of the community out there hear about 0 days. That's when it's officially announced that it's available. We're finding it well before that date and then notifying the authorities of what we've found and how we've found it. So all of that goes into creating this intelligence that we then make available to our clients to make their systems smarter as well. So I think one of the other great advantages for NTT as an organisation is there's a commitment from NTT Holdings to spend $3.5 billion per annum in research and development. And that's resulted in sort of 3 different areas within the organisation that we can leverage from securities. So there's the NTT Venture Fund, which is a fund that's been set up in Silicon Valley. There's NTT Disruption, which is really set up to disrupt markets. What can we go in and disrupt? They're really looking at areas like how can we make cities smarter? How can we enable smart vehicles? The third area is NTT R&D Americas, which is a pure play research facility that's based in California, so just outside of San Francisco. So those 3 areas of investment, that money that NTT is known for investing in R&D, I think is a real differentiator for us in the market and allows us to co-innovate with our clients. So if a client's looking for an outcome and not quite sure how to solve it from a security posture, we can partner with them to actually create something new for them, something that is very relevant to them and can be delivered in a scaled model.
I hear from your colleagues that you equip them with a can-do attitude all the time, listing the opportunities instead of the roadblocks and the procedures. What can companies do to equip their team and the team of their clients when it comes to security? How can they set up a yes team like yours?
Right, so I think that's sort of that concept for me anyway, as I have been in my career for a few years, really came from our clients. Many of our clients, we started, whilst we meet with the security teams, often we were meeting with business people who had a business problem that they were trying to solve, but every time they got it to nearly to the finish line, the security team would come in and say, no, you can't deploy that, the code's not written right, the security posture's incorrect, whatever it may be. So it really came from how do we enable our clients' security teams to be the ones to say yes. I've kind of taken that attitude from my experiences with clients and sort of applied it to how we operate internally. It's within the organisation, it's a big organisation, right? And within that organisation, things were getting blocked for whatever reason. We might have been on a hiring freeze or we didn't have any more capital investment to make. So instead of thinking inside of the box, the question back to the team was, come to me with a solution. Everyone can come to me with a problem. Nobody comes to me with a problem and the solution. So that's where we wanted to really get to. So I'd like to think it's had a very positive impact across the team. But it's really about self-empowering people. We're constantly, as we're going through the iterations of this globalization of NTT Limited, we have things that we call internally pulse surveys that go across the organization. We're being very conscientious of our employee base, all 40,000+ people, and constantly looking at employee feedback and what can we do better. We've got many loops and open loops that are there for our communities to communicate across. And always with the goal of making sure everyone's comfortable in their role, that they're seeing career opportunities for themselves and they're really doing what they want to be doing.
That was a nice way of putting it. All the best for NTT Limited. We are looking forward for more developments from this $11 billion conglomerate. That was Matthew Jide with SC Media UK. Thank you, Matt, for the time.
Thank you, Chandu. Really appreciate the opportunity.